all about trying to limit the mistakes. If they can start solid here, if they can just try to get the rotation going, and I think they are going to be a very scary team, and they're going to be difficult for Endpoint to handle offensively, because unlike a lot of the rival series teams that have been coming up recently through the RLRS into RLCS promotions and even into the promotion itself. Well, there we go, that's a 1-0 for Endpoint already. But I was going to say, Solary aren't a one-man offense at all. They really do rely on all three players.
That might be the slowest I've ever seen the ball taken across the field for a goal. There was one demo that opened up the entire spot, but that is not how Solary wanted to be beginning this series. We saw yesterday just how important it is to start off as well as possible. Infield pass, that's a great save to keep it out. 2-0 down this early. Never really a death blow to your chances, but certainly not needed, especially when you've pumped yourself up so much. This is supposed to be your day. This is supposed to be the day that you crown yourself as a true pro of the scene. To go 2-0 down would certainly be a kick to that. We're going to see Melishisu trying to stay back a little bit. Solary trying to escape as Virtuoso finds himself the last one back. It was direct Rocket League, no angles needed, but they still got a goal.
You know, Virtuoso is trying to pressure the ball carrier on his way back to his own half there, but there is also some pressure off the ball being given by Solary, and they have ended up scoring as a result of it. Now, they are going to have to watch out for that. We're all going to have to watch out for it today. Virtuoso is extremely well known for his demo plays and his bump plays. Keep an eye out for him. We saw plenty of that yesterday in the North American promotion playoffs, and I expect that will be a big part of today's series as well. Look at this shot by Melishisu, I always get his name wrong. And that is going to be 2-1 for Solary. Very impressive speed off the backboard.
Yeah, Endpoint just had no chance to react, nobody in position that could even respond. And that is how you come back from being one goal down. Very early in the game still, as the Solary have taken the lead. They'll look to try and capitalize now. Two players in the corner from Endpoint. That's a fantastic block though from Virtuoso. He can keep this going. Goes for the net. Kyrian is forced to play the ball to the corner, but pressure is still on from Endpoint as they look for Virtuoso to put the ball in. Bunch of bumps as well from the side. Does mean that Exotic can put it on target. 2-goal lead established, and Solary are rocking and rolling.
This is fantastic counter-attacking by Solary. Very nice pass there by Melishisu. He made it so easy for Exotic to get that shot on target quickly. But this is very strange. I'm not used to seeing Endpoint pushing this far up the field, especially early in a series. They're more of a defensive team. They usually sit back and let the opponents come to them. So this is, you know, an interesting version of Endpoint that I'm not used to seeing. But so far it hasn't been working out too well.
Almost seems that they've been trying to take some notes from what we saw yesterday, where the RLCS teams were outpacing the rival series teams and getting so much success from that. Maybe Endpoint were just trying to replicate those results, but so far Solary have been more than equal, if not faster. Nashital just trying to find something for his team. They've been knocked back. Virtuoso puts it straight down from Melishisu. Infield passing play, it's a little bit too heavy. And we now transition to the other side of the field. It's an open net. And that is an easy one to get back for Endpoint.
This is a very high scoring game one because both teams are aggressing so much with all three players. We did say earlier that that's something to expect from Solary. They like to use all three players in offense, and they like to get goals on all of their members. But that's maybe a bit too risky. Doing an infield pass to your third man often is. And Endpoint are back within one. They might be tying things up here. Great save by Carrion, but the pressure's still on.
Endpoint looking to try and get themselves back into this game. Put us at 3 each. Exotic can't get the block that he was after. Kyrian looking for a second touch. Saw quite a few of those yesterday. Seems like it's become more and more important just to make sure that you're constantly putting some pressure on the ball, giving just one blocking angle that just sets off where the player can go towards. Shishu just to harass Virtuoso on his way back. You can see how Endpoint and Solary have been very preoccupied with trying to steal each other's back boost. They are very late on the rotation. Just trying to establish a boost control game either side, but it's been very difficult for both sides to really implement for consistent periods of time. Virtuoso gets a good first touch. That's not a great one from Melishisu, but he's actually managed to find a teammate. Very risky. It was going to be all down to who came to that one first. A minute and a half left. We've still got a 1-goal lead. Goals have started to calm down.
Now this is where the game gets very dangerous for Solary. They're only, like you said, 1 goal ahead, so they need to be extremely careful with their choices in regards to what shots to go for, what passes to go for. Endpoint in the past have really liked to play an interception style, look out for relating wave, and try and get hard reads on those passing plays that the Solary boys tried to get started, and that's, you know, how Endpoint can turn a Solary attack into a goal of their own.
Almost feels like we're going to have to see... We've seen the pace now, we just need to see some of the discipline from Solary as we head into this final minute. Don't overcommit. Don't give Endpoint that opportunity to split the defense in half. That's a huge bump on Exotic. One-on-one. And relating wave almost snatched at the opportunity. Like he had a little bit more time to set something up a bit better. Still have 30 seconds now. Ashito. Still to Exotic. Relating wave now to his own corner is Melashishu. Just wants to keep this pressure on. Every single time we see an orange player touch the ball, it is more time wasted off the clock. Nashito over to relating wave. That's always going to be a difficult shot to take, though. Johnny, they're running out of time.
Yeah, not a lot of time left for Endpoint. They're, you know, sitting back a bit more now. They're playing the more usual style. But they, you know, have to get a counter-attack going pretty soon. Or just some pressure. Look out, maybe Virtuoso going to try some demo play on a goalie on a center ball here. It's got to stay up for Endpoint, but it won't. And Solary do take game 1. An extremely aggressive start to the game was, I think, an advantage for the full French lineup. Endpoint not so used to playing in that style themselves, and it really showed.
Yeah, it definitely did. As we went through the game, I was actually really nervous after the first goal went in, just purely because it seemed almost too easy to give up. It's one that can definitely knock your confidence, but the response was fantastic. There was a minute of just pure Solary. They managed to take control of the game from there, and they didn't really look like giving it up. And what is very interesting to see as well is that when they do have a 2-goal lead, they are still willing to send all 3. It did result in them conceding a goal, but I don't think it was the wrong decision. I think the execution was poor. So I think if they can keep execution levels up, they'll be in a much better spot in the rest of the series.
Well, certainly. I mean, Solary do look capable of, and they've proved all season long in the rival series that they can play that offensive style, getting everybody involved in attacking plays. The danger is if they do it too predictably, and if they start, doing that game after game, and Endpoint start to read them better and better as we go from game to game here. But so far, so good for Solary. Endpoint didn't look as organized as they usually do in defense, and Solary can keep on taking their chances. If they can be clinical with their finishing, then I do think that they've got a great chance to get a good head start in the series. They already have a small one. Let's see if they can now add to it in game 2.
We usually say in these best of 7s that taking game 1 is just a little advantage. Taking game 2 gives you a real shot at just shutting this series out. It will leave so much for the Endpoint boys to try and accomplish. They try and take this one back. Endpoint with early pressure, relating wave. Doesn't get a best challenge out as Kyrian just taps that ball up. Melashishu will leave it. Not going to just go diving in for anything right now. More boost stolen. That's going to be very interesting to watch throughout this series. As both teams seem to be very happy to leave players around. Infield pass to Kyrian. Over to the corner. Relating wave's going to need to save this. And instead he gets the good old help from Mr. Post.
It was a nice assist there by the post on the save, but well done by Relating Wave to react to what happened and get a nice little pop clear. Pinch shot fired towards the orange net, but Arian's going to deal with that without too many issues. Already we're seeing a much more defensive Endpoint than we saw in game 1. Look how deep they're sitting. They realize that they conceded a lot of easy goals in the last game. They've decided that the number one thing for them to do right now is to just tighten up these holes at the back, and then after they've done that, they can figure out how to get a goal at the other end.
And this is where, when we see Solary go for the infield pass, it's going to have to be so well timed. They can't just do it on instinct. They've got to know when to time it, where the defensive positioning of Endpoint truly is, because if it's intercepted, that can be so deadly. Nashito will get a challenge, and he does win it. Relating Wave now moves on. He has a couple of passing options. Virtuoso, though, is not that far up, and we talked about infield passing plays being countered. This is not the way we expected it to be.
Yeah, I definitely thought if there was going to be interceptions like this one resulting in easy goals, it would be Endpoint scoring them. But this is not the first time that they have walked into the trap they're usually the ones to set. and they're down again, Shogun. This is not looking good for Endpoint. They're not playing their usual style, and they're walking into Solary counterattacks again and again.
Nashito is not having any of that today, and well, if there was any situation where I could not blame him, this is certainly going to be it. Careers could very well be on the line today. Kyrian over to his own corner. Don't get too much extra, but we have to worry about where Endpoint are really going to try and strike. They've already been caught out once so far. Nashito straight onto the net. That is going to be a lovely pass over to the side. Exotic's got plenty of time, ends up leaving it for Kyrian. Looking for three-point passing play, but doesn't quite work out. Endpoint, though, on their offense, taking a second or two to really set themselves up. Here's Nashito. Just trying to get some players to commit. He's getting quite a few double commits, though, from Solary. That has been one thing we've seen a lot from them, but the good news is that every time they've done it, they've had players in recoverable positions, so it's not hurt too much. It just means that the transition's a bit late.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world to have two players diving at a ball in opposite directions in defense, as long as, like you said, they can land and get back into the middle as quickly as possible. Solary are not going to have too many issues with recoveries today. The mechanics are definitely at the level of Endpoint, if not higher so far. This is going to be another great opportunity. Look at this shot from Exotic in reverse. Endpoint get the read this time. They're keeping this game closer than game 1 was, at least.
Relating Wave decides to power the ball long, but Exotic already on the wall. Great transition. That's going to go straight for the net. And have Endpoint been caught out again? Yes, they have.
You know, that's a fantastic hit by Milashisu. Look how much power he gets on that shot. But what is going on in the Endpoint defense? I've never seen them caught out of position with their third man this often, this many times in 2 games. But if they keep doing this, they are going to keep on conceding. The shot quality from the Solary players is just way too high to be giving them this much space and this much time to take this free uncontested shot on an open net from distance. It's another infield from Endpoint. It was almost read by Exotic. This is now turning into a bit of a problem. We said game 1, you know, had some errors, but they didn't look like they're going to be too hard to fix. Well, now we're seeing the exact same mistakes in game 2, and that is not what you want to see if you're an Endpoint fan.
Yeah, for Endpoint, they've been conceding from the 6-yard box, but not the one that you would typically expect to see. They have been caught out numerous times. Now 1 minute to try and turn this around. Passes over. It's a very heavy first touch, though, and that backboard has been very well covered so far by Solary. As Kyrian over to Exotic. Can't quite make contact, but they're not the team that really needs to put pressure on. Just got to try and buy themselves some time. Virtuoso did not want Milashisu to really play with that ball. However, what did it really give his team? It's going to bounce into the middle. It's already looking pretty poor at 2-0. A third goal would definitely end it. So I see Virtuoso. He's got Relating Wave in support. Can't beat Exotic, though. They're trying to 1v2, or at least find some way to pull defenders out of the way. But 20 seconds left. This is looking like a wrap.
Solary just far too comfortable in defense at the moment. Endpoint have not done enough to disrupt their defensive positioning. And, you know, well played to Solary. They've made Endpoint look quite normal in this series. And this is an Endpoint roster who have caused problems for several RLCS teams throughout the last season. Yes, it took a lot more losses than wins, but we didn't think that they were just going to fall for such simple counter-attacking goals as they have today. If Solary were going to win this series, I certainly thought they were going to have to, step up and really show us some insane offense. But they haven't had to do that, and that's not to their discredit. They've taken their chances, and Endpoint have hardly even had a realistic chance because what they're doing is so easily dealt with by Solary.
Yeah, it just seems very readable in a way. Solary have done a great job of keeping an eye on the off-ball players, not just the people that are currently trying to control the play, and that's what's helped them so much spot where these passes are going to end up going. On the other side, though, that second goal was just a fantastically quick transition, the sort of thing that we expect to see from the Vitalities, from the Dignitas's, where they are so good at transitioning from their backboard onto a wall and just powering it on the half volley. That can be very annoying to deal with, because when you've got players on Solary who can air dribble from their own backboard, or they could just pass it, it makes them very difficult to lock down in their own side of the field.
Yeah, this is that we haven't been able to see and we haven't had to see the full potential of the Solary offense today. What you're seeing today is just a very quick transition from defense to the goal with simple counter-attacking play, extremely well executed nonetheless. But I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing Endpoint step up defensively, because then we get to see if Solary can bring their A-game offense to the playoffs and really show us what they can do as well.
So, talking specifics here, what would you like to see more often from the Endpoint backline, especially when they are actually in offense?
I definitely want to see more control of possession. We're seeing, hard clears with no pressure, and there's a difference between hard clearing the ball at your opponents while you have a man driving forward threatening a demo, and simply hard clearing the ball at your opponents with no pressure whatsoever. And we've been seeing a lot of that from Endpoint. They're hitting the ball hard towards the Solary end of the field, but there's nothing else happening alongside it. There's no threats. There's no nothing for Solary to think about. And then look at what Solary are doing on the other side of the field. They've got angles covered. They've got Endpoint scrambling. And once again, Shogun, they do look like the better team. Only 45 seconds into game one. Oh, there's a nice bump though. That is exactly what we're talking about. If Endpoint can start doing that in combination with their clears, maybe they do still have a chance here.
Certainly need to throw off what Solary are trying to do right now, as they do look so comfortable. Relating wave on the ball, but Exotic already around. It's going to be a race to this. Shishu did get there first, but when it comes to blocks, first is typically not where you want to be. Kyrian not looking comfortable, and that's going to give Endpoint a much-needed lead.
And this is much better for Endpoint. We did see a bump play on their previous hard clear. Now this one has a quick follow-up. They're not waiting to see what Solary do with that ball. They're getting in there, and they're making something happen themselves. That is the pressure that's been missing from Endpoint's game. Now we get to see how Solary play when they're one goal down.
Last time they were in this position, they bounced back incredibly quickly. Scored 3 in a row with no response. But will it be a different story this time around? Nashito going for the ceiling. He's still got good control. Very little in the form of challenges right now. Relating way off the follow. And Meloshishu somehow managed to power through, as he did get contact on another player on his way through to trying to collect that ball. Now a passing play. And Nashito just keeps it out. Solary now having to display some of that offense that you wanted to see earlier on, Johnny.
And I'm really impressed, Shogun. These are some incredibly threatening passing plays. Solary are so quick to realize where the pass option is, and they're not holding back with these passes. They're really firing the ball at each other, and that's going to test Endpoint's defense. So far they've passed, but if they don't keep an eye out for the passing plays of Solary, I wouldn't be surprised to see one of these flying on target sooner rather than later.
Virtuoso for the flip reset. Needed that to get underneath the player and to really complete the play. Solary forced to play a lot of defense this game, but they haven't managed to find that critical counter-attack that has worked for them previously. On Endpoint's side, though, it seems like bumps has become a strategy now. They are actively targeting these players on their way out of the rotation. As Exotic to the opposing corner will be taken over off to the backboard, but Virtuoso and Endpoint have already got the rest of their defense set up. It means it's going to be very difficult to attack the backboard, as that's going to be put up high. Follow-up from Exotic, saved by Relating Wave. Kyrian looks to keep pressure on, but was the best of that opportunity now finally gone? Virtuoso attempts to find some way out. Solary do not want to give up possession here, as Exotic gets some contact. Nashito is called off by Virtuoso. Kyrian up high. Here's Meloshishu. Just gets some block. Solary have been stuck in on offense for a long time, trying to scrap away to a goal, and they will find it!
Finally, after battering the ball into the corner several times, Solary have got the goal, and that's a position that Endpoint are usually quite comfortable in. They don't mind sitting behind the ball in their corner, making 50-50s happen, and just waiting for the opposition to run out of boosts and run out of offensive options. But here it didn't happen, and that's a great save, Meloshishu already keeping his team in the game. That was, I think, his second fantastic save of the game. He had a pre-jump earlier, and now, under pressure on the kickoff, he answers. Solary still in with a great shot to go 3-up.
This is starting to look more and more like the series we were expecting. Meloshishu able to get it up to Virtuoso, but that is good transitional pressure for the Solary team. Shishu just doing a little bit of pressure up high as Virtuoso finds relating wave. Good transition so far. Virtuoso now can control. But he would have liked to try and steal that boost, as it seemed like the offense got a little bit less targeted as the play did develop. 1 minute on the clock. Infield pass to Exotic. He decides to leave that, probably for the best. He want to leave his last player all by himself. We're seeing a lot more shots this game, actually, Johnny. A lot more shots with the idea of generating pressure to move forward, steal boost, maybe capitalize on a mistake.
Yeah, that's really smart by Solary to mix some shots into their play rather than focusing too much on multiple passes in a row, because the thing that's going to make their passes effective is if they can disguise it as a shot. But look to them to throw a shot on target, even if they do expect it to be saved. Oh, well, I mean, speaking of shots you'd expect to be saved, Melishisu has just bounced one in off the corner.
I mean, for all goals to go in the match that we have said that Endpoint have looked at their very best, that one is going to hurt. And it's going to hurt even more on the scoreline if we go 24 seconds without another goal, because Endpoint will find themselves 3-0 down and requiring one of those all-rare best of 7 reverse sweeps. They've got to get this done in the next 10. Nashito. Good play from him so far. He's got 2 out, and that is such a crucial touch. Doesn't allow Rating Wave to have a shot, and it's all for Endpoint to do. They've got no time to do it. Solary are on series points.
Wow, well, I didn't think it was going to end like this. Like you said, this was more of what we expected from these two teams. A game where Endpoint are proving to be very difficult to break down defensively, and Solary still managed to step up and apply intense amounts of pressure to do so. But it all fell apart there for Endpoint. I'm not sure if that was a complete whiff on the ball, or if perhaps the Endpoint defender got stuck on the wall, as you do sometimes when you try and jump off a curved surface in Rocket League. The inertia as he jumps might have just glued his car to the wall, and that's maybe prevented him from dodging into the ball as he intended to. Now, it's still a misplay. You can easily correct that problem by just coming up the wall more vertically, or just not rushing into the corner for an uncontested bounce in the first place. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it wasn't a misplay, but there could have been more to that than meets the eye. Unfortunate for Endpoint, certainly, but they are still the ones to blame.
And for Endpoint, there's a major problem of the fact that they now need to win 4 in a row. And it's 4 in a row that need to be won by a team that have looked solid at times, but completely crumble at others. It's just, these mistakes are coming out of nowhere. We can't predict them. We can't expect them. They are just happening.
Yeah, if they had won that last game, or rather, if they had lost that last game in a continued close match like we were seeing, with not many obvious mistakes on either side, then I wouldn't really be counting them out yet, because Endpoint have made comebacks like that in the past, and they're a very solid team playing from behind. That actually should have been a goal there for Virtuoso. He's put his rebound wide. You know, like the fact that there's been so many mistakes for Endpoint in every game that we've seen this series makes it extremely difficult for me to predict a comeback here, on top of the fact that they need to win 4 in a row.
It's going to be Exotic. That's straight on net. Uncontested from him. Is that the goal that puts them into the upper finals?
As simple as you like. Relating Wave often in the right place as the ball crosses the box. Gets a bit too far forward, and he mistimes his jump. And that is the easiest 1-0 that you're going to have for Solary all series. Probably because we've already seen the other 1-0s, and I doubt there's going to be another one after this if they keep playing like they are. Virtuoso with another chance. That's a better shot. It's saved well by Kyrian. And that was, you know, improved accuracy by Virtuoso. Too far away from the goal this time. A bit too easy for Solary to react to.
And that's maybe the 3rd goal line save that we have seen from Solary. It's been an understated part of their series so far, as a lot of things have been a little bit more obvious. But they have definitely done a very good job of saving at the very last moment, frustrating Endpoint, who I'm sure do not need any help being frustrated with what's happened in this series. Relating Wave. Let's find Nashito, but Kyrian has got it covered. Now he's going to take his time, looking to take as many players out as he possibly can. There's the infield, and Melishisu, that's not going to be his to try and commit to. If they're going to try and go for those, they have to be a little bit more close to the midfield. It's Endpoint now, desperately searching for the pressure that can find them a goal. And it doesn't look in this series like it's going to be Solary that are going to just hand them one. They're going to have to work for this. Lating wave. Can't find a challenge. Virtuoso's got plenty of time to move on in. He's got it pretty clean as well. Nashito looks for a set, but finally Solary get their players back. And look at how quick the transition is. Endpoint have got to work it all again from their own side of the field.
You know, time is going to be running out very, very soon for Endpoint. They're not the sort of team that create countless chances in just a few seconds of gameplay. Nashito had another opportunity there, and that one's gone away from him as well. Been 2 shots off the post this game for Endpoint, and look at this interplay by Solary. I think Exotics just popped the ball off Melishisu's car here, and it's bounced right over the goalkeeper.
Want to know how your pass is good? The other player doesn't even have to jump. He doesn't even have to move anywhere that he wasn't already going to. Not too sure how intentional it was to be that accurate, but for Solary, looking at the scoreline, looking at the series scoreline as well, they're going to be beaming right now. They are 3 minutes away from booking their spot in the upper bracket finals, and they'd have 2 opportunities at that point to try and secure the RLCS spots. Virtuoso off the backboard, relating wave, looking to try and make a game out of this. Endpoint are not out just yet. They could still yet flip the switch and become the team that we know that they can be. Period.
And you know, this is worrying for Endpoint. The analyst desk were saying earlier, if they do dip down to the lower bracket, they still see them qualifying. Personally, I don't. I think that there's a couple of tough teams on the other side. In particular, Stormcruiser are coming in today as, I think, the favourites to win this entire upper bracket. But you know, Endpoint, they're not down there just yet. They do have more chances, but it's about time they took one. How many opportunities are they going to get without even putting a shot on target today?
Shishu bumped off the ball. 2 minutes left, 2 goals needed. Nashito also watches his teammate diving for a challenge, but it's a challenge that they didn't win. You just see the time ticking away every single time they don't get the challenge that they need. Relating wave looks to set something up, but Exotic just shadows the ball the entire way, guides it safely to Kyrian. As we do have now a minute and a half. Relating wave to Virtuoso, another block from Exotic. He is all over the field right now, and he's all up in the face of his opponents. But I didn't quite know where the defense was from Solary. They managed to get Kyrian in the way just in time. Virtuoso for the backboard. And it looks for a mistake, but Exotic, still calm as you like, plays to the corner. Endpoint running out of chances here, and they keep trying to go high on every single one of these plays. It's not working.
You know, Solary are just playing perfectly right now. They're waiting at the back. They're waiting all the way at their wall, covering all angles, because they know that Endpoint have not really figured out how to get the ball past them. So why bother changing your defensive strategy? They're playing better than Endpoint in almost every aspect of this series. They've been better mechanically. They've been more consistent. I think they've had better team plays, and they've probably gone in here with an overall better strategy for just winning Rocket League in the current meta. They've been the more aggressive team, and they've thoroughly deserved every success that they've had up to this point.
Well, if there is going to be one last twist in the tail, it's going to have to come very soon. Relating wave. And as far as Melishishu, 1 extra goal would secure that spot 100%. It's already looking incredibly unlikely as it is. Exotic, not a great first touch from him, but it's enough to take out Relating Wave, and this has been the story of the series. Solary just so quick to follow up. Kyrian over to Exotic. It seems like even if there is a slight mistake on that defense, it has not ended up mattering at all. Solary decimate and dominate their RLCS opponents. And it's going to be Endpoint heading to the lower bracket as Solary will be awaiting, and now only one more best of 7 away. Johnny, what a performance this has been.
This is incredibly impressive for Solary. They look like the real deal, and you know, based on what we've seen here, I would be surprised if they don't qualify for RLCS today. But obviously they do have to win one more series. That will be more difficult, more pressure in that one than we just saw here. But on the other side, what a disaster for Endpoint, a team that are usually so difficult to score on, a team that are known for being you know, pretty solid in defense and quite comfortable sitting back under pressure. Did not look like a shadow of themselves today. They were conceding goals left, right, and center. That